Welcome to the Big and Little Crochet video blog, and this is hexagon number 12, the popcorn river, and we've got the river yarn, this lovely dusky blue, accompanied by leftover petrol and white from your stash, which should be ever growing by now. And we're going to start off with the white, and we're going to make a magic ring. And I'm taking the yarn from the centre of the ball, which may be foolhardy, but it's what I prefer. Less mess that way. To make a magic ring, start off with the short end of the yarn facing you and wrap the yarn around so that it crosses over. Now I'm going to put the hook underneath that first loop and pull the second one underneath. Shall I show you that again? So you start off with the short end facing and roll it away so it crosses over your finger, and then I'm going to put the hook underneath the first loop and pull the second under, and now that's the long part of, so if I can get my finger out, there we are. Don't have it too tight, otherwise you'll never get your finger out. So here's the yarn. I'm going to pull that over and do a small chain just to hold it securely together. And now I've got a little circle and we can work into the circle. And we're going to make trebles. So I'm going to start off with 3 chain, and I'll count that first one as a chain as well. And I'm going to make trebles going around with the short part going round to the left like this, so that we're working over the top of that, and you'll see why in a minute. So you don't need to make the circle smaller yet, but you can, you'll see by pulling this one you make it smaller. So we need 12 trebles all together, including that 3 chain at the beginning. So keep going until you've got 12 of those. So now I've done 12 trebles and 11 trebles and 1 3 chain, and if you lose count you can count the bars or these nice neat little stitches along the edge. And when you've done that, we're going to pull the magic circle closed by pulling on the short bit of yarn. So this is the short bit, and whoosh, there we go. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch to close up the outside there. Now in the next round we're going to do trebles again, but this time we're going to do 2 into each of the ones below. So we start off with that 3 chain and another treble into the same stitch, so at the base of your 3 chain. So there's 2. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 trebles back into that same stitch again, and then here again. So anytime you can pause the video if you feel that I'm going too quickly for you. You can pause and rewind and play again, and make sure that it's all working at your own speed. So 2 trebles in every treble going all the way around. So I've done 2 trebles in every stitch all the way along, and when I get to the end I'm going to do a slip stitch into that third of the 3 chain that you did at the beginning, and then we're going to fasten off the white because we have the river coming next. Not only that, but it's popcorns, so hold on to your hats because they're not as difficult as they look. Okay, so I can get rid of that bit at the back there. So here's the river, and I'm going to join this to in between any of the pairs, so where I don't want to go in between them where there's 2 in a stitch, so I'm going to go in this bit right into the space in between there, and we're doing trebles again. So start with a 3 chain Now each popcorn is made up of 4 trebles, so we start off with our 3 chain and then 3 trebles all into that one space. So here we are, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Now I'm going to take the hook out of that loop and put it back into the beginning of the 3 chain there, and then back into our loop, and then pull the yarn through both, and that makes our little popcorn. And then there's a 2 chain gap, and then we're going to do another one here. So this one's going to be the full 4 treble version. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'll take the, being careful not to pull it so it unravels, and there's, it's easier to see now where the hook needs to go into the top of that stitch there, and then into the loop again, yarn over and through both, another popcorn made. And then so carry on doing that with 2 chains in between each one, and you should have 12 popcorns going all the way around. So here's 12 popcorns made, and I've done an extra 2 chain at the end, and I'm going to join to this popcorn, and I think I'm going to go into the back, so round the back here where it joins together, and then we fasten off the river because we're going to join on the dark petrol blue next. And the petrol can join onto any of these spaces at the back of your popcorns, and I've made a slip stitch already, so we're going to join into here through the work, then through the slip stitch, and we're doing trebles again. So we start off with, you guessed it, a 3 chain, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do 2 into each of these spaces. So that's 3 chain and 1 treble into that first one. And then 2 treble in the next space. And when I'm doing this, I'm holding the short end at the back, and I'll work that in. Then the next space is going to be a corner, so the next space is going to be a corner, so we do our 2 treble, and then we're going to do 3 chain and another 2 treble all into that same space. And there's no chain between the rest of the trebles. You kind of feels like they're not going to stretch round, but they do. So it's just continuing with that repeat. So 2 treble in one space, and then the next one will be a corner again. And when you get round to the end, we'll finish this one, and this will be a corner as well. When you get to this end bit here, we're going to do another 2 treble into the last space, the one that you started in, to make that into a corner as well. So 3 chain there, and then join with a slip stitch to the top of the first 3 chain that you did. There we are. And this next round, we're going to start off with a corner for the row below. So we start off with a 3 chain and 1 treble into that space, and then we're going to do 2 treble into 2 spaces this time. So it's the same as the row below that you've just done, but it's got an additional 2 treble space along the side there. So another 2 into there, and then this will be a corner as before with 2 trebles and 3 chain and 2 trebles. At the end of that round we do another 3 chain at the end and then join with a slip stitch to the top of your first 3 chain. It's a bit confusing, all this talk about 3 chains. It's just because we're doing trebles, and there happens to be a 3 chain corner as well. Okay, so that's our hexagon, looking more hexagony. And now we're going to join the white for the next round. And I'm going to start somewhere where there isn't a knot, so it's good to change where you start, just so that you don't get the ends all working in at the same spot. But I'm going to start on a corner, and I've made a slip knot with the white and pull that through. And this round we're doing half trebles, so it's only a 2 chain and a half treble into that space. So the pattern is similar to the rows below, except half trebles, not trebles. So 2 into that corner so far, and then 2 into each of these spaces. So the half treble, of course, yarn over, through, and then yarn over and through all 3. Yarn over, through all 3. And of course now there are 3 gaps down the side instead of 2. And when we get to the corner, we do 2 half trebles and a chain. How many chains? 2. So 1, 2, and then another 2 half trebles. And at the end there we just do 2 more half trebles into that last space, 2 chain, and join with a slip stitch to the top of the first 2 chain that you did, trying to go under 2 bars, and then cast off. There we are. So that is hexagon number 12 done.